Hey everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I am here with yet another franchise ranking, and this time it is for the Alien films. And yeah, it's crazy, I ranked the Predator franchise first, and now I'm actually going to rank the Alien films. And yes, guys, it will include the Alien vs. Predator films on this list, because I include them on the Predator list because they're not really Predator films, they're kind of more Alien films really, but my grades are probably not going to be good for them anyway, but anyway, let's just get started on this. So, that being said, there was a franchise eventually. Let's start with, it's going to be from best to worst, and anyway, let's just get started. So, with the first, start off with the very first film, and start off with is probably my second favorite Alien film in the series, and that is probably none other than Alien. Man, I absolutely just love this film. It's still one of my favorite sci-fi horror films of all time. It's basically about these crew members that go on this mission. However, a baby alien creature attacks one of the members. Then that crew member becomes infected with the alien, and the alien then starts to burst out of him. And soon enough, there's now an alien dealing with the ship, with the crew trying to survive dealing with it. Now, I absolutely just love this film so much. It's got so many memorable and iconic characters, such as one of my all-time favorite leads, Ripley, and that Xenomorph Alien is still one of the terrifying monsters in sci-fi history. Like, it was designed and created to convey a fear of rape, and it succeeded. Amazing designs like the human aspects, the spacesuits, Nostromo itself, and the late H.R. Geiger actually did well in designing the alien. The idea of a space film about a killer alien creature going inside a spaceship and having to kill the creature before it kills everyone on the ship is a very original premise. Very great and memorable characters like, of course, Ripley, Dallas, and Ash, all great characters. Very iconic poster, with the quote, "In space, no one can hear you scream." Very excellent. Acting, a good score from Jerry Goldsmith. Very scary scenes like the chestburster scene. In fact, apparently it actually terrified the actors, so Veronica's reaction was actually real. Great looking sets. Special effects are amazing, especially the alien suit. Even there's some deleted scenes that are restored in the director's cut are very interesting, like the cocoon scene is considered to be one of the most disturbing scenes of all time. Now, for the bad qualities, yeah, some painfully obvious special effects. A lot of Goldsmith's score was cut from the film, and it would cause him to swear off working with Ridley Scott until Legend. A few plot holes, and characters do sometimes make some foolish decisions. Was it really smart for Dallas Scott to alien by himself? But despite those criticisms, I would give this film a flat-out 10 out of 10. It is my second favorite Alien film. It's still one of my favorite sci-fi horror films of all time. And I just love it. And I am going to watch one of these films I'm going to watch this Halloween. So, after Alien, we eventually, several years later, we got an action-themed sequel to Alien, and what is my all-time favorite Alien film, and that is for none other than Aliens. Man, this is pretty much the film that launched James Cameron's career into the spotlight. First he had directed The Terminator, then he directed this film, and then he went to direct another one of my favorite sequels, and that's Terminator 2 Judgment Day. But I absolutely just love this film so much. It basically changes from a horror film to an action movie. And I love how they changed the tone and didn't just rehash the first one and even continued it from there. But what is this film about? Well, it's 57 years after the first film, and Ripley gets woken up from a spiral sleep and finds out that LV-426, where the Nostromo crew made contact with the alien that slaughtered them, has been colonized. However, contact with the colony was lost, and she gets asked to accompany these squad of Marines to investigate what happened. But even with their heavy firepower, the Marines may not be ready to face the horrors that await them. What's this? Why? Well, it's so intense because of the new tone. Just like in the first one, Ripley is still very likable and strong. Other likable side characters like Vasquez, Hicks, Hudson, Napalm, and Drake are very interesting and very fun to watch. A roller coaster ride of violence. Excellent practical effects for the Xenomorphs in this film, and of course, On topic of effects, the Alien Queen is the biggest puppet ever made for a film, and it requires several people to operate, creating a very terrifying creature in the process. Incredibly suspenseful soundtrack, good acting. The xenomorphs are much more deadly than in the first film. Stunning and funny catchphrases, amazing story that follows up the original, helped popularize the space marine trope. It has wonderful cinematography that also fits the movie's tone. And Nick Goldstein was very awesome as Vasquez. Now, if there's one bad quality, some of the side characters like Private Phosphoro and Spunkmeyer don't get enough screen time to be as interesting as some of the other characters, but I'm willing to let that just slide. But how would I rate this film? Well, much like the first film, I'd also rank it a flat out 10 out of 10. It's my all time favorite Alien film, and it's still one of my favorite sequels of all time. But, and of course, honestly, I wouldn't mind Alien kind of just ending here, really, because, well, no, I don't mind the films like the one of the films that comes after this film, but it's not really that good. But then we got 5 years after Aliens, we did get, well, one of the one alien an alien movie that wasn't really good with fans, well, and that was of course none other than Alien 3. Now, I think it's okay for what it is, but it's definitely not like good. If you know what I'm saying. Well, this film is basically about the ship that they're on at the end of Aliens ends up getting crashed by this, well, other alien that snuck on board and has killed the survivors of Aliens, and now of course Ripley finds herself now in a prison, and of course there's now another alien on the loose, and of course, well, we all know the story at this rate, but the bad qualities is it's really inferior to what made the first two so great. It's way too different when tons of boring, unintended comedy scenes, good trips throughout the movie, where it basically doesn't even feel like an alien film, even suffered so much trouble production that even David Fincher himself actually hates this movie and even disowned it. None of the same power from the first two films, very bad acting, a lot of the character development is terrible, parts of the soundtrack keep cutting off, so many plot holes, none of the scenes have suspense, scary moments, or any funny moments. There's just a bunch of campy, boring moments that pretty much aren't even interesting. It's a very predictable, awful treatments of the characters. Like, New and Hicks are literally just killed off in the beginning, and I think we can agree this was where the film pretty much died when they killed them off. Very slow pacing, some false advertising. It tries to have some emotional moments, but you basically just don't even care. They just get too much exposition. Such an abysmal and a completely abysmal ending. Like, the franchise definitely died when they killed off Ripley. And that was a really stupid move. Most of the special effects are decent. The ones on the alien for the quarter chase really look awful. But there are still some good qualities. Idea of a prison in space is actually kind of nifty. Sigourney Weaver's performance as Ripley is still good. The scene where Ripley is sitting against the wall of fear, being close to Xenomorph Runner, is actually pretty iconic. It's still one of the only iconic shots of the whole film. The score is still pretty well done. Cinematography isn't too bad. And there is thankfully an assembly cut that is actually way better than this film. And there's still some decent special effects. The design of a xenomorph as a dog-like creature is actually pretty cool, so how would I rank it? Well, I'd rank it a somewhat 6 out of 10. I don't think it's nearly as bad as people think it is, but it's definitely not a good film. And certainly better than the next solo alien film I'm about to get to, and well, oh boy, we get what is easily the worst alien movie ever, and that is, of course, Alien Resurrection. Oh god. Alien 3 may have been bad, but Alien Resurrection is the worst solo alien film ever made. But first, what's about? Well, it's set 200 years at the events of Alien 3, and Alan Ripley survived from blood samples taken before her death, and Alien Queen's DNA is mixed with Ripley's, and the clone grows up with embryo inside it. And, well, yeah, but all in all, this just basically, it makes her sacrifice at the end of Alien Resurrection just basically pointless. She sacrificed herself. Well, it was a stupid move to kill her off. She at least sacrificed herself to kill off the alien creature that was inside of her, but why this movie sucks, because it's so unnecessary. After Alien 3 destroyed the franchise with Ripley's suicide, the cellars are closed down, almost all forgotten. And she's even cloned after she died in Alien 3. And she's somehow cloned with the xenomorph Queen chestburster growing inside of her. And she barely even acts like herself. And instead, it's weird and uncomfortable to watch. Much like Alien 3, extremely weak and boring story, lack of scares, and Cole is held at gunpoint by Purvis, despite the fact that she's an android and cannot be hurt. Yet Ripley Nurse thinks she's literally in danger. So many lesbian innuendos that were not even needed. Bad acting, especially from Winona Ryder, who I like her better in Stranger Things, but she is so terrible in this film, and most of the cast as well. It even ignores a majority of events in the earlier films that came out even before Alien 3 and this film. Most of the jump scares are still predictable, terrible special effects. They look barely any better than what you see in a sci-fi TV show. The newborn is so ridiculous and replaces xenomorphs as the main threat of the film's climax. Most of the characters are very cartoonish and over the top, especially versus the more realistic, believable characters in the previous films. Too many face-touching scenes. Only crisis, all because Josh Whedon's one-liners are so distracting they don't even fit the character's series and are very irritating to get through. The only redeemable qualities is still Sigourney Weaver's performance as Ripley, some good practical effects, still some pretty scary moments. Scene near the end where Ripley had sex a newborn out is actually pretty heartbreaking to the fan base. Ron Perlman as Ron Jones is still one of the only few highlights of the film. Now, well, but how would I rank this film? Well, I would rank it a 4 out of 10. It's one of the worst sequels I've ever seen. It was a bad way to revive the Alien franchise. And it pretty much further ended the Alien franchise on a much badder note, but, well, ended the solo films anyways, because, well, we get what is probably some of the most hated crossovers ever, thanks to a cameo in Predator 2 with the Predator skull. And that, of course, is, well, of course, the Alien vs. Predator films. And to start off the Alien vs. Predator ranking, let's start with the first film, abysmal crossover film, and that's Alien vs. Predator. Now, what's this about? Well, it's set in 2004. Yeah, guys, an Alien film that's actually set in 2004 is so stupid. Weyland Industries discovers a pyramid buried under an island in Antarctica. The owner sends a group of archaeologists to investigate it, but the humans get trapped in a war between the two alien races. Now, I remember this getting a lot of hate because of the PG-13 rating, but I have seen it, and it's not a good film by any means, but it's okay for what it is. At least it actually tries to be an Alien and Predator film at the same time, because even if it's still not good, but I think it's just an okay sequel. I mean, at least it knew what it was. But the bad qualities, well, the premise of having a crossover with Alien vs. Predator is original, but not really even that original. And the effects for the blood and uncut version aren't even that good for 2004 standards. The dialogue is very dreadful to listen to, and the whole film is so obvious that the Predator is a hero character in the entire film, even though he's never even a hero. He's a villain. He was never supposed to be a good character. Now, and of course, the other bad quality is that they rated the film PG-13. Alien and Predator are not for kids. They never were. It's really stupid, but it actually feels really violent and gory even for a PG-13 film. Now, good qualities, well, the scene where the Xenomorph and a Predator do fight each other is, much like in the comic books it's based on, is actually still a good scene. Some effects are still good at least you can actually see them unlike the follow-up movie it gets. Some of the effects are cool to look at. Some pretty good and written soundtrack that was scored by Harold Closer. And the scene where the Predator Scar gets killed and slowly dies from battle is actually kind of heartbreaking. Because, well, Scar was a pretty cool Predator. He's the only cool Predator in the whole film, really. Yeah, but... So, how would I rank this film? Oh, I would rank it a 5 out of 10. It's not as abysmal as everyone calls it, but it's certainly not a good film either. Much like with Alien 3. But, then we get what is the worst, both Alien and Predator film, both the franchises. The one that basically destroyed my interest in both the characters, and that was for... Oh, dropped it. Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. Oh, God. I absolutely hate this movie. It's one of the worst sequels I have ever watched, and we're going to get to why. Well, it says shortly after the first one, the Pred alien that grew out of Predator's scar wreaks havoc in a Predator ship, crashes near Colorado. One of the Predators who survived the crash sends a distress signal, which is caught by another Predator, Wolf, who then goes to Earth to eliminate all the aliens. Eventually, a bunch of city residents become trapped in the middle of the battle between two alien species, forcing them to band together in order to survive. And here's why this film just sucks so much. It's so painfully bad to watch. Because you get, one, you barely even see most of the film, most of the film literally takes place at night. Even the places that take place during the day are slightly visible. Because, well, thanks to the lazy filmmakers, they didn't even have enough equipment to light the sets properly. And such that there were more budget problems. Yeah, great one. Human characters are forgettable, very unlikable, and underdeveloped one-dimensional cardboard cutouts. They're basically a bunch of slash movie cliches, and the mother and daughter are literally rip-offs to Alien and Newt from Aliens, made worse by the extremely abysmal acting, three groups of characters, and it feels like an overload. Taking one of the groups out, like specifically the horrible teen group, would have been better. Nothing to do with even the first one. The only thing is that Scar's corpse in the Pred alien. And they even have. Plus, I do not even like any of the violence in this film. When they said we want Alien vs. Predator to be raw, this is what Fox want. Okay, you want violence? Here you go. Let's show a 10-year-old kid getting impregnated with a facehugger and his chest bursting on screen. Even, it's like that. His death is just so disgusting. Half the violence is so disgusting in this film. I mean, alien films are gruesome, but this feels like it was written by an unstable psychopath. And here's one scene that shows why. The scene with the Pred alien impregnating that pregnant woman in the hospital whose water broke. Like, that is probably one of the worst scenes I've ever watched. It's so disgusting. It's so painful to sit through. I can never get past that scene. It's basically destroys the whole meaning of the Alien franchise. It was thrown in for shock value, and God, that is still one of the worst scenes I've ever seen ever, and the most disgusting too. I could never pass a Toronto cringe shot for that fight for dudes. Very disappointing action scenes and very hard to see, like I've already mentioned. Beginning of this movie literally rips off the opening scene of Alien 3. The British shots have no directing experience, and at all. They're probably just horrible directors. Title is so misleading because the Predator never fights basically any of the aliens at all, and the word Requiem doesn't even relate to anything. It was even going to be called Alien vs. Survival of the Fittest, but it was later dropped. Some lines are even reused lines from the other Alien Predator films, and the last scene is nothing but sequel baiting and it's a pointless idea because thanks to this film being so bad at the box office and so bad with fans, there's never a third film, and we'll probably never even get a third film. The only good quality about this is Brian Tyler's score. And after this film, I really hope we could just get a proper reboot of Alien vs. Predator and make it actually good and done by directors who actually care about the franchise. But how to rank this? Well, I would flat out rank this a 0 out of 10. It sucks. It's the worst, one of the worst movies I've ever watched. I never like talking about this movie, and I just really want to move on to the next ones. Now, anyway, now that I'm finally done with Alien vs. Predator, we thankfully finally got a film that finally needed to go around and wrap itself around and actually repair the damage done by that disgusting Alien vs. Predator Requiem movie. And that was for, of course, none other than the first prequel to the Alien franchise, Prometheus. Now, I mean, I get it's not really... It's an okay film, but what's it really about? Well, in 2093, after a clue of mankind's origins are discovered, explorers were sent to the darkest corner of the universe. Their different expectations take a toll on them when they find something unimaginable. Now, let's go on with the good qualities. Well, very nice visual effects for a spaceship. Director Ridley Scott is back. And I'm glad they got back the original director because he was really needed to be a way to repair the franchise. Very nice and beautiful soundtrack. Having a prequel to the Alien franchise, even if it's not best executed, it's actually pretty decent. Some of the characters are a bit fun and developed. The good performances like Michael Fassbender and Charlize Theron. At least that the film locations are almost as beautiful and dazzling. It actually makes you feel like you're on another planet instead of on Earth. It even matches pull viewers to the movie's world. The bad parts is the characters make a number of stupid decisions. A small count of gory scenes means the religious references Some plot, very bad plot points. The movie's title is questionable, having no connection to the Alien franchise at that point, where it didn't even feel like an Alien film most of the time, but I would let that slide. So, how would I rank this film? Well, and uh, and actually not a bad performance from Newbie Rapaz either. So, how would I rank this movie? I would respectfully rank it a 7 out of 10. It was definitely a good way to come back to the franchise, repair it, hopefully get it back on track, and yeah, but all in all, it's just an okay movie. But here we finally get my third favorite Alien movie, and yeah, guys, it's my opinion. I personally like this one. I know a lot of people don't, but I think it's still pretty good for what it is. But and that would be, of course, Alien Covenants. Now, I get that people don't like this film, but it's my opinion, guys. I personally think it's my third favorite film because, well, Michael Fassbender performance as David was definitely the best things. There are still some decent film locations. It has good callbacks to the first Alien film. The design of the Xenomorphs are decent, the CGI effects look ugly, and it was very nice and very epic to see the Xenomorphs again. Again, after such a long absence, it was very nice to see those creatures again because they were my favorite aliens. And the bad part is this: that there's some terrible CGI effects, some bad lighting. It may even kind of throw up. Obviously, David is the evil android from the first time we see him. Much like its predecessor, the characters still keep making very idiotic mistakes. The movie has a little bit too similar to the Alien. It's kind of too different from Prometheus either, but no one even breaks its own logic, and the characters are a little forgettable and boring. They all have romantic couples for some reason, but all in all, despite those qualities, I would definitely go aside, and I would give Alien Covenant an 8 out of 10. It's my third favorite Alien film, and honestly, I really hope that now that Disney owns them, they can still keep making better Alien films, and hopefully one day we'll get that direct sequel to Aliens and have Sigourney Weaver come back in the role, because I really hope that as long as there's a director who doesn't fill in too many propagandas in Alien, they can still make it R-rated and dark, not PG-13 like Alien vs. Predator. But all in all, I really hope that they can still get some more Alien films in the future, and I hope Ridley Scott can still direct it. Now that I've finished ranking all the films, how would I rank it best or worst? Well, first place, Aliens. Second place, Alien. Third place, Alien Covenant. Fourth place, Prometheus. Fifth place, Alien 3. Sixth place, Alien vs. Predator. Seventh place, Alien Resurrection. And bottom worst, Alien vs. Predator Requiem. That is how I would rank all the Alien films, including the AVP films. So anyway, that'll be it for this video, guys. Thank you all for watching, and if you like this and want to see more, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Movie Lover 120.